Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. So I've been joined today by my beautiful red heifer. Now, what is so important about the red heifer in Bible times, not just with Moses and Aaron and sacrificial atonements, but what is the significance of the red heifer in the last days? A lot of people have been making some very unusual videos just lately about what it means. Now, first of all, I'd like to establish whether the fact that it hasn't been seen for 2,000 years, is that correct? I've read a report on someone's site who's done some research that it's not been actually seen in Israel for 2,000 years until just recently. I can't give you a definitive on that because I don't know. So I'm throwing that one out to anyone that knows about that. But that is quite significant. Because if it has made an appearance and it meets all the criteria, but what is the criteria? Well, that's a good question. Well, you have to go to Numbers 19, and we'll take this from verse 2, because this is Jehovah speaking to Moses and Aaron, saying, starting at verse 2, "This is a statute of the law that Jehovah has commanded. Tell the Israelites that they should take for you a sound red cow in which there are no defects." That's very, very important. "And upon which no yoke has come. And you are to give it to Eleazar the priest, and he will lead it outside the camp, and it will be slaughtered before him." Well, I did a bit more research on the criteria of the red heifer, and it has to be of a certain age. Can't be too old. It can't have given birth. So it can't have had a yoke on it. It has to be all one colour. There can't be a cross section of colours, or that would taint it. So that's a very important fact to consider. Its eyes must be red. There are so many things that can disqualify a red heifer and make it unfit for the purpose on which Jehovah wanted these to be used for. Now, I understand that there may have only been, since Aaron and Moses, is there only been 7 that they've actually sacrificed? I think we need to research that and find out if that's the case or not. That's quite interesting, if that was the case. But, but what's the significance with the red heifer? She's beautiful, isn't she? I mean, she really is beautiful. But to think that the priest will take that beautiful red heifer and sacrifice it for atonement. Well, it's not for me to get into the politics of why this was done, but it was a necessary thing. Because man, I suppose, man was so far beneath the level of perfection that he had to do all these things to even get anywhere near being accepted in the eyes of God. I think that's what it boils down to. But what's the significance in our time? Because if you look on the internet now, you will see a lot of red heifer videos being tied into the third temple. Now, it was my understanding that time would not allow for the third temple to be built, that Christ would return before the third temple was actually completed. Now, I'm going to be staggered beyond belief if the third temple actually gets built. I'll be shocked beyond all recognition. I won't be shocked about the red heifer making an appearance, but I will be shocked if the third temple is actually completed. Because from my understanding, it doesn't get to that stage. We don't go as far as having it completed. So this kind of really underlines and presses home the nearness of the return of Jesus Christ, if what I believe is true. that the third temple, although there may be an attempt to have it built, but it has to be built. This is another important fact. It has to be built on the exact location, but that exact location is being occupied by the Dome of the Rock. Correct me if I'm wrong on that assumption, but is this not why Israel and Palestine and the Muslim world are at loggerheads and fighting? Would a victory for Israel mean that they can have that location to build a third temple? Or am I speculating and going too far off base here? It it seems to me as if a victory, a military victory for Israel, if that was to come, even if it was to be assisted by NATO, could mean that they could push for that location, because it's important that the third temple is built on the exact location. And the second temple that was taken down by the Romans in 70 AD, wasn't it? That was when Jerusalem were told to flee. And didn't some return back into, only to find that by returning they just more or less signed their own death warrant? I'm going to say, although I don't know 100%, I'm going to say with what my understanding is, there will be an attempt to build a third temple, but I do not think it will be completed. I do not think that Bible prophecy has outlined that it will be completed, that Christ is actually closer than you think. Well, that's just my opinion. But what's your opinion on this? And should we have an answer about the 2,000 years of absence of the red heifer? Really? Is that really true? That there hasn't been a red heifer in Israel for 2,000 years until just recently? That is very, very weird and very interesting at the same time. But why did they have to take it outside the camp? I don't understand that. Why wasn't things done within the camp? Why did they have to lead it, or the priest did, outside the camp, and that's where he had to do the... I don't know, peeps. What do you think on that one? What's the significance of being led? Has this got anything to do with Jesus and the whereabouts of where he was killed? He was led away from where rightfully he should have died? Has that got anything to do with it? I don't know. But we do know that this is sort of symbolically referencing Jesus Christ, the red heifer. Jesus was an atonement for human imperfections, and the red heifer is a way of people getting closer to the Most High. But it has to be done. It's 7 times. Very significant. The 7 times. Again, I'm scratching my head. But I do think it's a fascinating subject, this one. Yeah, she's beautiful, isn't she? Really beautiful. How could you take a knife to that, eh? How could you do it? Well, you had to do it. You had no choice. Because if you didn't, your sins would mount up. You'd be too unclean in the eyes of God. And so that's why you had to do it. Look at those red eyes. Anyway, see you peeps. Gotta go.